What is up, guys? I know it's been a little bit since we posted part one of this G87 M2 Widebody, but it was before SEMA. Everyone was wondering what it was going to look like. So now that a couple months have passed, we got through the holidays and the new year. So we're excited to finally be able to show you everything in detail for this first in the world G87 M2 Widebody. And a lot of people think it's a certain kit, but it's a Zacoe Performance Widebody for the G87 M2. Let's go check it out. All right, guys, so before we start going over all the really unique pieces of this M2 Widebody kit by Zacoe, there's a really cool story about the wrap on this kit. Obviously, this car belongs to Aerowerkz here in Southern California, and it's a GSWF color from GSWF. I wish I could remember the name of the color, but it kind of looks like the old E36 M3 Techno Violet, and I think that's what they're going for because it's so close to it. But besides that great choice of wrap, you know, this Zacoe Widebody kit for the M2 is not only a good look, but the quality is amazing. So, you know, a lot of the times when you get a widebody kit, there's certain things that need a lot of massaging, or you need to prep the panels, and that all adds time and cost to actually be able to finally put the kit on the car. So again, this car was built in like, I think, a week and a half, from like a stock M2 into this first in the world widebody M2. So if you guys want to check out all the performance, drivetrain upgrades and other things, go check back in the video for part one. But yeah, so as you can see, I think one of the most unique parts of the Zacoe kit, besides the widebody itself, is how they've integrated the widebody piece for the front bumper into the lip. So that's not something you see on very many kits. It's a very flowing kit, and at the same time they were able to kind of stick to the design philosophy that BMW is trying to do on this car with more squarish lines. So you can see there's a lot of flowy things, but they were able to incorporate all the hard lines and all the sharp edges into the kit. So you've got this front vented arch. Like, just to give you guys some scale, you know, here, actually this is better for scale. You can see how wide this thing is. There's a, you know, so then it flowing back, the side skirt from the front goes from the widebody kit arch all the way through the side, and it also incorporates into the back. So it just adds to that overall flow and line to the car, which I really like. So, and then they've incorporated this vent. It actually is a through vent. It's almost like a flying buttress in architectural terms, kind of like you see on a Ford GT. So going to the back, you guys might notice that the FI exhaust is the M Performance style quad centered tips, but that is not actually part of the Zacoe Widebody. That's actually from FI. So this rear diffuser that incorporates this center quad tip design is from FI exhaust. So a lot of M2s too, you guys have probably seen a lot of Alpha N wings and other things like that. This is a different take on it, and I kind of like how it's not just like everything else that you see. So it's got both the duckbill on the trunk, and it still has that squarish, like E36 LTW style look to it on the back. But they've also made it a little bit more modern, and also flowed with the rest of the kit by adding like this kind of edge here, and then having this incorporate into the duckbill. So one thing we like to talk about a lot with widebody kits is how they incorporate the gas tanks on the rear quarter. So, you know, luckily, good thing it's unlocked. So, you know, this doesn't intrude on any part of opening the gas cap. It's like a small thing, but like, you know, after doing so many widebody cars, it's something that is a big issue on some kits. So as you can see, guys, this thing has a presence like no other. When we got the renders before SEMA, we were honestly kind of worried, which I kind of explained in part one, because, you know, renders can only do so much, and the render on this M2, the M2 is already a widebody car from factory, which is amazing. So we're like, I wonder what this is gonna look like when it comes out in real life. And usually when you say, oh, it's gonna come out better in real life, you know, sometimes it doesn't, but this M2 Widebody came out way better than what anyone was expecting. So yeah, besides this, the amazing and unique look of this first in the world Widebody M2, there's a very cool story behind the wrap itself. You know, not only the color of the wrap by GSWF, but as you can see here, Aerowerkz put a commemoration to one of their friends and people that they worked with a lot in memory of Ciso. So during SEMA, he unfortunately passed away, and in the crazy SEMA rush, he had a few cars that were in process, but this M2 was the only one and the last one that he fully completed. So, you know, it's very cool. I heard that story when we picked up the car back from Aerowerkz last week, and it just puts like a very unique touch and connection to this car, and like amazing how it came out. So, you know, besides everything that we just talked about, touching back on some of the things we did in part one, and real quick too, I forgot that the car was manual. So Phil at Aerowerkz was nice enough to let us take the car to San Diego last weekend for the SD Beamers event. And I got to drive it, you know, a good amount of miles. And this car is actually easier to drive than my own G82 M4. So very surprising, but very cool. Obviously this car turns a lot of heads, so it was very fun driving with everyone in the caravan and taking pictures and just enjoying everyone driving the car, and then finally putting it by the water in San Diego. Shout out SD Beamers for an amazing venue and event. But yeah, so we put the full Eventuri intake dry carbon, and again, this is a DrvnMind by Daniel Song kind of specification from Eventuri. He was the first one to request a dry carbon matte look on the carbon fiber intakes, and also the Indiv engine cover, which is all matching with that matte look to it. And yeah, and obviously most of the builds that we do, we always incorporate the Golden Wrench Blackline custom caps for all the reservoirs and the oil filler. So moving on, one thing that we couldn't show you in part one were the wheels, and Daniel really spec'd the wheels out amazingly for this car. So you've got the Work VSXXs on here, a really good complement with the color of the hardware, the center cap, matching the emblem of the Zacoe 1 of 20 G87 Widebodies. And then moving on in the interior of the car, we installed the JQ-Works rear racing steering wheel system for a manual car, obviously, so no paddles. I think this made the experience of driving the car, it always does, just that much better. And then obviously behind us, we put in our G87 M2 binarium roll bar. And since that time, we just released our G87 M2 rear seat delete, so I gotta talk to Phil about getting one in here as soon as possible. Yeah, hopefully now that you guys have been able to kind of see in detail the car, let us know what you think in the comments down below. If you guys want any of these parts that you are seeing in the video, please hit us up anytime. Happy to answer any questions, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.